This is where it all started. This soil, these hay bales, the tractors, and the lessons from a man who helped make me who I am. My grandfather farmed alfalfa, volunteered in the community, and sat in the front left pew in church his entire life. After his father suddenly passed away, my grandfather, still a young man, stepped up to lead the farm, to care for those around him, knowing that age isn't a barrier to making a difference when there's a need too great to ignore. He and my grandmother shared a dream, a hope that we could one day send our children to school knowing that they'd be adequately prepared to succeed, that we could feel safe and proud of our communities, and that our brothers and sisters would live in a more just world. They prepared my father to set off to college at 18, and there at New Mexico State he met my mother, a woman that taught me that my blessings are and always will be meant to be shared with others. She too was raised by parents who were farmers right along the lifeblood of New Mexico, the Rio Grande River. After my grandfather passed away, my grandmother took over the farm, and she served as a living example that even when we don't have much, we can still be proud of what we do have. My two older siblings always reminded me to never quit until the job gets done, and that humility isn't thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. My parents shared deep roots in this community and big dreams for the future. They instilled in me a belief that I should always be humble enough to deeply care about the needs of others, and yet confident enough to know that all it takes is just one person to change the world. Like so many of you who grew up here in New Mexico, I started each day in school standing up and proudly saying the words, "I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures." But this is not the New Mexico I know today. We're 49th in education, crime continues to riddle our communities each and every day, and our economy is failing hardworking families who only seek a good job to provide for those that they love. At a time when we're more divided than ever, I see a need for friendship, a need to bring people together. We need one of us in Washington to find solutions that benefit all New Mexicans. We need a fair tax code for middle-class families and not just the 1%. To invest in education and infrastructure, to strengthen our communities and create higher-paying jobs, and to find a balanced solution to our debt burden so we're not paying for it for generations to come. As a business owner and advisor to Fortune 500 leaders, I have seen what builds economies and creates jobs, and now I know I have a responsibility to bring those lessons back here to my home in New Mexico. We can continue doing the same thing and expecting different results, or we can stand up and use our voice. There are too many lives that matter that are being disregarded, dehumanized, and it's time that they too have a voice. It's time for people like you and I to finally have a say. It's time for us to have a seat at the table. It's time for us to find common ground and build on common sense. It's time to move New Mexico from the bottom of the list to the top. It's time for people like you and I to say enough is enough. It's time for us to stop fighting about who is right and instead start fighting for what is right. It's time for us to demand more of our leaders. It's time that we do something that matters. I hope you'll join me, because it's time for a future that we all deserve.